What's going on, everybody? We got a late night show going on tonight. We actually plan on having an outstanding show, I think, tomorrow around 7 or 8, right, Ross? Or we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, late night show. We were not able to do a post game of NC State, so we're going to mix that in as well. There were some comments by Manny Diaz today. Tom D'Angelo of the Palm Beach Post asked Manny Diaz about recruiting, and this is what Manny Diaz said. When we turn against our program, all we do is push our recruits away. That's all we do. All we do is make it more difficult to recruit. This was a clear message to the fan base. He also said that losses, do equate to not landing recruits as well. You have to win. You're not supposed to lose football games, obviously. What I got from that was that Manny Diaz solely took a shot at the Miami Hurricanes football fan base for the negativity it's provided. At the end of the day, we are, correct me if I'm wrong, 3-4. Feels like we're like 1-5.
I know.
We're 3-4. We got Pitt coming up Saturday. It was a good win against NC State. I'm not going to take that away. I got to give Manny Diaz credit. Got to give this football team credit as well for fighting and pulling out a 1-point win at home against a ranked NC State team. Got to give credit when it's due. I did not like the comment from Manny Diaz. You are the head football coach of this football program. When you got this job, you stood up in the press conference. You looked everyone in the eye and you said, this is the new Miami. Miami will win now. This is going to be the Miami standard. You will fix the quarterback position. You did at times, I guess, De'Ara King to a certain extent last year. And now we'll see with Tyler Van Dyke. It's another young quarterback that we need to develop, shown flashes of great play. I did not like that quote from Manny Diaz. Ross, what was your take from it?
I hated it, man. I thought it was absolute garbage. Yeah. I mean, honestly, to try to deflect from what's actually happening, to try to make it seem as if he's coaching, good enough to get elite recruits, but he just needs a little bit of the fan base to kind of help him out. Nah, bro. Like, I'm not buying any of it. And here's one thing that I'm going to tell Canes fans right here. This is from the mouth of a former P5 college player when I asked him about this Manny Diaz quote. He said, every program in the nation gets criticism from fans when the team and the guys you recruit aren't performing or developing. Manny Diaz needs to walk back that statement.
110%. No, it was completely disgusting what came out of his mouth. You beat App State by 2 points. They lose that Louisiana by like 28 points. You lose to UVA. You lose to UNC. Who am I missing with the law? We lose so many games. Like I'm forgetting Alabama. Besides Alabama, who's the fourth?
Yeah, Michigan State.
You lose to Michigan State by 21 at home. You come up with all these excuses. Then you don't start the right players until they get injured. The seniority, and then the previous Gilbert Frierson doesn't even start a striker anymore, which is something that's mind-boggling. And you just make a position switch with Amari Carter, and you start him over Gilbert Frierson, who was your striker last season. None of this makes sense. We're exhausted. We're tired. Take responsibility of your own actions. That's what the fan base wants. I'm sick of the excuses, Ross,
Yeah, it's time for him to kind of stand on his own 2 feet and prove that he's either going to coach or he's going to make excuses. Because right now, I just see a dude who's making excuses. Yes, and I will say the same thing like you did. I'm not going to demean the win that we just had, but I'm not going to sit here and outright praise it either because we still have big issues.
Oh, no, the issues are huge. The issues are huge. No doubt about that. We got a Pitt team that we got to play coming up, and I'll be honest, they're going to score a lot of points. They're going to score a lot of football points.
I'm worried, dude. If you give Kenny Pickett time, he will pick apart a defense, and that's exactly what he's probably going to get because, it's one of those things where if we don't get our pressure up front, then we have to manufacture it, which leaves guys hanging one-on-one, leaves guys out of position elsewhere. That I'm worried that we're going to have to depend on the manufacturing of it, and Pickett's just going to sit back and smile the whole time.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We'll get into that game later on in the week. Ross, have you ever crossed paths? I mean, we've interviewed a lot of recruits. We have a great show coming up tomorrow where we're going to be having a lot of recruits on. I've never crossed paths with recruits saying that the fan base is the reason why they didn't commit to a program. I've heard, Sony Michelle, he said the Georgia game day feel was the reason why he picked Georgia compared to Miami because, game day feel for an average game. No, I mean, we don't sell out. It's whack unless you're playing a big opponent, Florida State and Notre Dame. We didn't even sell out for Virginia Tech, to be honest. There were a lot of people there, but there was one corner of the stadium, one section that was empty. I was there, so please don't try to correct me. I saw it there live. Um, it takes a lot for us to sell out a stadium for a big game.
Yeah.
65K. If you're in the Miami-Dade area, depending where you are, I mean, it's Hard Rock Stadium's on the border with Broward. Cooper City is like right there.
Yeah.
It's in Miami Gardens, so you know it's not easy to sell out the stadium. I will say that a lot of people are upset about the program, and I think Manny knows his time is coming, and I think Pitt is going to beat us. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. If I had to make a realistic prediction, I think Pitt's offense is going to put up a lot of points that we cannot match.
It's not just that offense I'm worried about, Paul. It's their defensive line and against our offensive line. That's what I'm worried about. They've got two of the highest graded pass rushers on the defensive line in the ACC. And I'll tell you what, you know who loves to show up against us? Is Cansey. Because why? Because we neglected him in the recruiting process. That was a guy that came to one of our camps and said he wasn't going to leave until we gave him an offer. We never gave him that offer. We said he was too small. So now what does he like to do? He likes to play for Pittsburgh and tee it up whenever we go against him and go off on the Canes.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh is a good team. I'm not going to say they're elite college football program. I think they're a good, solid football team. I thought NC State is a good football team as well. They lost by 1 point on the road. I think Miami's better than their record, and I think their record could have changed if they hit a field goal. They beat Michigan State. I think their record could have changed a little bit if they convert the final drive against UNC. Things could have changed for Miami's record. I think we're better than what our record stands. But this game against Pitt, man, their stadium, it's not like a traditional place where it's empty, similar to Hard Rock Stadium. They're filling it. They filled out their stadium to a certain extent, more than I've seen in the past against Clemson. They got the win. I think Clemson, regardless of their record, I think they're a tough opponent to face if Miami was to face them next week.
Oh, absolutely.
They had the talent, like Miami. Yeah. The issue is not talent. They have it. They've been recruiting well. Ross, we didn't talk about the post game against NC State. Give our quick thoughts. We'll start off with Tyler Van Dyke. I think he improved a lot. He's getting better every week. My assessment at times, I think he can get rid of the ball a lot quicker. There was a pass to Restrepo that I thought he had him open for quite a while before he got rid of it. But I think he's growing, and I think development's going to be key for Tyler Van Dyke, but I think we have a future Power 5 starter.
Yeah, I mean, to see not only him take his progression already, but to see us take our progression in the play calling to coincide with it, it's kind of you don't want to say it's like the perfect storm or whatever, but it's at least showing that Lashley and TVD are on the same page and that they're going to hopefully move forward together on the same page. The thing that TVD, about his game overall is if you sit back and you try to limit him and you don't let him spread it around and open it up, he's going to struggle. So opening up the playbook a little, letting him take some shots, it's right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got a great arm. You know, let him air it out.
Yep. And he's showing some decent touch too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think he's a future Power 5 starter. He's showing it. The thing is, we've seen this with Jaron Williams. We've seen great play from Jaron, from Brad Kaya. It's development from here. Different situations, obviously, but I think we need to develop Tyler Van Dyke. N'Kosi Perry was someone else who's shown great flashes. He's doing very well at FAU right now. So development's going to be key with Tyler Van Dyke. I don't know what the future has to hold with our offensive coordinator position, obviously with this staff. But, we'll see. But I think Van Dyke's showing a lot of promise. He's getting better every week. Our O-line, how do you think they played against NC State?
I mean, of course, some ups and downs, but there was actually some stretches there, some pretty solid play. There really was. I hope that we are finally getting a unit to gel. I hope we're finally figuring out who we really need out there at the right time, dude. Like it's been maddening to have the musical chairs kind of going on. Guys in and out, guys in and out. Now injuries happen. I get that. Nothing you can do about that. But lackluster play is a lot of the reason why guys have been coming in and out. So hopefully we can find something to gel with.
No, absolutely. And, speaking of injuries, Bubba Bolden was, declared out for the season. So wish him a speedy recovery. It's been a tough final year.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate it's had to come down to this, missing the rest of his season. Wish him the best of luck. And, this is someone who came back for his final year of college football, and it's tough. So I really hope he has a full recovery. Was definitely not the year he wanted to have. So definitely wish him the best of luck moving forward. Ross, what do you want to touch up on throughout the NC State game? First off, besides Tyler Van Dyke line play so far.
I'll say that one thing, at least on the other side of the ball, was that we showed a little bit better tackling overall. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect by anything, but what I did notice from us is even if guys weren't wrapping up solo, they were making an impact enough to allow gang tackling to take place. So guys weren't getting big yards after contact, basically. That's something that we need to keep building on and keep working with, because like we've talked about for this entire season, our tackling is absolutely atrocious. One game isn't going to convince me that we fixed it, but thankfully we at least saw a little something, dude.
Yeah, I know Cam Kitchens, man. That was a big play he made. I think it was, I could be wrong, it was like turnover on downs with NC State. I could be wrong. God, it was Saturday. I'm already forgetting about the game. There's probably a reason for that. But no, he made a huge tackle. I mean, I don't think this was a bad NC State team. I really do think this was a good win, and credit to Coach Diaz, man. Honestly, did a tremendous job to get these guys ready. I got to give credit when it's due. I think Coach Diaz turned his back on the fan base today, which I'm disgusted by. It was a good win. It was overall a good win for the program moving forward, and he better bring it against Pitt, man. That's all I'm going to say, because they're going to put up points. I'm telling you.
1 week doesn't fix anything. Like I was just saying, basically, it's not going to change my mind about anything. Show some consistency. Show that this team is willing to put it on the line week by week, no matter who the opponent is. We often play down to our opponents. Well, I'm going to ask Diaz bluntly, can we play up to our next opponent? Can we play up to Pitt? Because right now, Pitt is a better team. They're not just better as far as showing talent. They're better on coaching as well. So, I mean, we got a battle, dude. We have an absolute battle versus them coming up. There's no doubt in my mind.
Pitt coming up is probably going to be our second best quarterback we face. Bryce Young, then Kenny Pickett. This is what scares me. NC State dropped a lot of passes against us that they were wide open. Probably could have changed the game. Now, a lot of things could change the game, no doubt about it, but it was a 1-point game. So, there were several passes NC State could have caught that they were wide open. We've seen this in the past. If Pitt executes, their wide receivers catch the football when open in space, they get a lot of yards after catch. With Kenny Pickett, who some say he's like a long shot for the Heisman Trophy. I think people are just pulling for an underdog. Watch out. This could get ugly. I really think so. We're going to literally, I honestly think they're going to score 40 points. It's whether Miami can score more.
What we cannot afford to have is another slow start, a classic Lashley slow start. We can't have that against Pitt because they're too formidable on both sides of the ball where it matters for us to really make a strong run with such a young quarterback to try to come back from multiple scores in that game. It's a lot to ask.
I think why I'm not confident in this game, it's an away game. This will be technically our second away game because Alabama was neutral.
Yeah.
I honestly think they're going to be ready to play. It's Miami. They understand it's a big game. Their fans are going to be there after a big win against Clemson. And I think this is going to be the second best offense we face, honestly. How's their D-line? I know Pat Narduzzi is known for defensive line, which will be a great test for our offensive line as well. How's their D-line at Pitt?
It's solid, dude. It's solid to certain times, actually showing borderline greatness at certain times. No joke. I mean, I've seen play from them as a unit that is reminiscent of what you see from some of the big name guys. Now, it's not consistent all the time with that, but I'll tell you what, their floor is a lot higher than our floor is on defense. They at least, if they're going to fall off at all, it'll be somewhat mediocre range. When we fall off, we fall the hell off. They're going to be a good to probably, I don't want to say great defense against us, but they're going to be a good to a very good defense against us. Because that D-line, even if our O-line starts to play a little better, dude, that D-line just causes problems, bro. It's caused problems for guys with more talented O-lines than we had already this year.
Thank you, Falconer X, for the $5 donation. Why the hate for TVD? Dorsey got blown out on his first start at Washington. TVD has had his best game against NC State. No, I think TVD's progressing a lot. He's getting better every week. I think we've seen this with other quarterbacks in the past. And I think it's development at the quarterback position where, Jaron Williams, he had 7 TDs against Louisville. I think he broke Deshaun Watson's record. Everybody was loving him after the game. We have our future quarterback. Does he even play now at, where's he at, USF? I don't think he plays now.
No, I don't think he's starting.
I think N'Kosi Perry's career, he went through how many different offensive coordinators? Went through a lot. Mark
2 or
Richt,
3, yeah.
Dan Enos, and then Rhett Lashley.
Yeah.
So that's 3. Now he's doing very well at FAU. We've seen this. Development's key. So, we just got to keep developing freshman quarterbacks, because the thing with being a freshman quarterback, I feel like this is kind of your beginning to start your potential showing. You have nothing really to lose, I would say. And then people kind of compare your first season, your freshman year, to your sophomore year, your junior year. Where's the progress? So it's kind of like, Sam Howell did better his sophomore year, but some people say his junior year isn't the same as those underclassmen years. So I think development's going to be very key. Look at Spencer Rattler. Number 1 quarterback prospect in the nation. Even Sam Howell is number 2. They don't look like it at all.
All we can ask for is week by week development for TVD. It's hard to want to say that because of the numbers he put up last week. Like if you just looked at the raw numbers, you wouldn't think he had any moments of struggling in that game. We did have issues still in that game. There's no doubt about it, on offense and defense. But if we can see him become more of a consistent threat throughout the first, second, third, and fourth quarter, not just in the third and fourth quarter, that puts us in a lot better position to win, dude. With Jalen Knighton back now and having that weapon to use, it kind of changes our offense a little bit. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what we do to mold into that.
Look, we got to look. Tyler Van Dyke, Jalen Knighton, you got Charleston Rambo at receiver. Your O-line's playing better. Like, you have potential to grow from this. I think your wide receiver core is good. By the way, I'm not trying to pick anyone. Mike Harley, I don't think he's happy about not getting involved in the offense. I don't know why. He was our leading receiver this past season. Why isn't he being involved more in the offense? I don't get it. This is what's strange to me. I feel like Charleston Rambo took that lead, but still Harley was your guy last year, and I don't even think he was really involved in the fourth quarter. I could be wrong. Have to look back at it.
We got to find a way to get a consistent number 2 wide receiver to perform for us. How long has it been since we toted out 2 guys at the same time, Paul, that we could sit back and say, we have utter confidence in both of these guys as our wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 to make plays? It's been forever. We've had the occasional wide receiver 1s come through, KJ Osborne, guys like that. Even Jeff Thomas had his shot at that. But this was the year I was really thinking that maybe we had that in the bag, dude. Because Harley coming back and then Rambo coming here, I thought we really had a 1-2 punch, and then Keyshawn Smith. So I thought we actually were approaching maybe a 1-2-3 punch. But hey, man, consistency speaks.
I think we were just getting, we ran the ball way too much with Cam Harris running up the middle of the field. And we didn't have anyone else because Don Chaney got injured out for the season. Then Jalen Knighton was suspended. So who are you going to go to? Cody Brown or Thad Franklin? Freshman guys, you could, but the running the football wasn't moving with Cam Harris. Just bottom line, it's moving with Jalen Knighton now a lot, and I love that.
Yeah,
because I think he's an outstanding player. I think he brings electricity. His cutbacks are amazing. His speed is phenomenal. He's an X factor. He's a playmaker. Put him in open space. He's going to beat the first man every time. And I love him in the pass game specifically. Honestly, that's where I love him the most. In the spread offense, utilizing him as a receiver, in the pass game or as a running back. Tremendous job, man. I think he's really going to be a star.
I love the fact that we're not just identifying the fact that he can do that, but we're starting to use him as a pass catching target. It's not just talk about it. We're actually trying to get him in space and actually utilize that. He is absolutely explosive. And the great thing about him is if our offensive line isn't blocking well necessarily in the run game, we can supplement the run game with the short pass game to him. It's kind of like an extension of the run game at times. So that can breathe life into the offense, even if the offensive line is struggling a tad bit to run block.
Redding and Worsham, you can forget about that, guys. That's it. So I'll leave it at that. You can forget about Michael Redding and Daz Worsham. It's not happening.
Yeah.
The future is with Keyshawn Smith. Charleston Rambo you think, does he have an extra year of eligibility, Charleston Rambo? I feel like he does.
Possibly. Doesn't kind of everybody, I think, came into this year, but I mean, he's a guy that, I mean, he's got an NFL future and he's showing it. I see no reason for him to come back.
Charleston Rambo is probably our best NFL draft prospect that I'm thinking top of the head. And once again, our transfer portals are the best players.
The only other guy I could toss into there, at least in terms of what they see as raw upside for the NFL, is Zion Nelson still gets a pretty decent bump in mock drafts. But hey, man, that's all upside based. It's not performance; it's upside based.
I see him walk on campus all the time, man. I've seen Eric Flowers, Chantrell Henderson, and even we've had Jason Fox. We've Eric Winston. I remember those guys back in college. I don't see it with Zion, man. I just don't see it. He's 6'3", 6'4", but I don't know. I just don't see him as a top NFL draft pick. I don't see anything special with him. That's just I think that I'm not the only one with that take.
It's usually comes down to athleticism when people are trying to hype him up. It's just a raw product with upside that hasn't been seen possibly yet. It is about the NFL. It's not always about production in college. Yeah. It's about the upside you can offer at the NFL level.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, I mean, that would be awesome. 2-star recruit committed to App State, decommits, goes to Miami. That would be great for him,
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Stacey Searles for evaluating that.
Hey, man, we could actually sit back and say that a guy that we recruited actually came in through our process with Diaz as a head coach and got drafted.
Did Diaz recruit him, though? That's the thing.
Well, I'm just saying with Diaz still being the head coach and not just completely ruining his NFL future already.
Yeah. All right, so some fans are asking Robert Butler, when did Manny Diaz call out the fans? Tom D'Angelo, reporter of the Palm Beach Post, stated Manny Diaz was asked about recruiting, and he said it's hard to recruit players when the fans turn on the program. But then,
sorry, dude, I dropped my pen.
Oh, you're good. Hey, look. FJ asked, Paul, it's your fault we lost Vegans. Your social media negative Nancy. He's kidding. Kind of touch up on why, when you spoke with Traquan Fegan's father, his family, why he chose Alabama, what was kind of the consensus you got from it? Because, once again, we've interviewed several players. We actually just spoke with Reese Mooney as well. No one ever brings up the negativity from the fans. They bring up the performance on the field.
It's never once been brought across to me by a recruiter or recruit's parents that anything that anybody said in social media is dictating anything whatsoever as far as an ultimate decision. While there might be, hype and things that can be built off of that stuff and a fan base showing support, kids aren't going to make their call off of what's going on Twitter. They're just not going to do it, dude. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why there's such a pull lately for this to make it seem as if fan bases, if they organize on social media, can make elite players join their school. It's just not how it works, man. Winning is what brings elite players to a school.
Alabama wins national titles. Georgia competes for national titles. Clemson competes for national titles. Ohio State competes for national titles. These programs are always in the college football playoffs. Oklahoma is always in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Miami is literally in the bottom of the ACC Coastal. We are a subpar football program. We are 3-4, battling out App State to win a football game on the final drive, where Louisiana beats them by 28. We get blown out on national television by Alabama. We didn't even fight the first half. We lose by 21 to Michigan State at home. We lose to UNC. We beat NC State by 1 point against a ranked team. Good win. Give it to you. Why do I keep forgetting about the fourth team we lose, Ross? Who was it again? We lose every week.
You mentioned UVA, Bama.
Oh, I didn't. We lose to UVA.
Yeah.
By the hit most. I'm not going to get into the field goal, but I think it's harder to miss the entire field goal post than to hit the post. I think it's very difficult just to hit the post.
Yeah.
Like you're right in front of it.
Yeah.
Nothing has gone our way this year, at all.
No.
Not even the coin toss. Not even the coin toss.
No. Like they talk about the football gods speak, you know? A lot of times the football gods have spoken against the Miami Hurricanes, dude. It just hasn't gone our way. When the ball doesn't bounce your way, what are you going to do? You know, I mean, if the ball's not going to bounce your way, that means that you have to play good enough football to where when those mistakes do happen, it's not enough to lose you a game. You know what I'm saying? Like if you at least can be somewhat consistent in that aspect, you can mitigate some of these mistakes and turnovers and stuff like that. It won't just barrel you or bottom you out, you know? So we just gotta show consistency, dude. And that's on both sides of the ball, man. Consistency is something in the Manny Diaz era that hasn't happened. So we got to see it on offense and defense.
Falconer X, thank you again for the $5 donation. Manny in Miami, if you want to fill the stands, you had to win. This is not Iowa City or South Bend. Yeah, absolutely. There's the thing about living in Miami-Dade County. You live in South Florida because once again the stadium is literally a block away from Cooper City. You're going to attract a lot of fans from Broward and Palm Beach County. Living in South Florida, not everyone's a Miami Hurricanes fan. There's Florida Gators fans. There's Florida State Seminoles fans. Heck, there's probably UCF fans now at this point. You know, and then growing up in Miami-Dade County, most kids, I'd say the heavy majority of kids go to FIU. The ones who attend the University of Miami are from the Northeast, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. That's a very expensive school for people who live in Florida. It's very expensive. It's a private school. FIU is a lot more affordable. Florida is a lot more affordable. USF, UCF, Florida State. Probably easy. Maybe not easier to get in, but whatever. I mean, depends on I don't know. You get the point. It's extremely expensive. So no one from Miami really goes to the University of Miami. A lot of them go to FIU, Florida, and Florida State or UCF. So, not everyone's a Miami Hurricanes fan, and then you never win. Why do you think no one goes to the Marlins games besides their ownership and trading all the players after they win a World Series and a lot more than that? But they don't win. They really don't win at all. They've only been to the playoffs twice. I'm not counting the COVID year, I think. And then they won the World Series both, but that's it. I think they started in 93. You got to win football games to attract fans. Supply and demand. There's no supply.
Consistent winning, bro. Consistent winning. Now, we know that hype can be brought to the University of Miami in a short amount of time if it's done properly. But ultimately, no matter what goes on from now, dude, if we want to be the team that we want to be, consistency has to be the name of the game. Until then, dude, we're just randomly showing up and playing good games here and there and hopefully not getting embarrassed by teams that are outright better than us.
Joshua Alexander asks if TBD balls out the rest of the year. Is there a chance Jake hits the portal? He didn't come here to be a backup. Hey. Balls out, but is the staff still here? Because if a new OC comes in, I mean, I think they're going to, it could be up for grabs. I mean, does Tyler Van Dyke want to stay? If a new offensive coordinator comes in, doesn't really go along well with him. I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. Just take it 1 week at a time. I think it's going to be open competition next season, but I think Tyler Van Dyke definitely does have the upper hand, getting all these starts in, getting all this game experience. Absolutely. So
I think it could go either way, honestly. I think it could go something to where, and like you mentioned, if it's not a fit for TBD and Garcia is the better fit, TBD might recognize that and decide that the best thing to do is not be at Miami and not be the backup.
Yeah,
Garcia could feel the same way, though. He could feel, and we know, though, Garcia's used to this, bro. He's used to taking off and not being scared to try something new on a new team or a new offense. He's got that utter confidence in himself.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, just taking 1 week at a time. It's kind of thinking down the road. I mean, heck, Manny Diaz, if he might be our head coach next year. We don't know that. We do not. So that'll be interesting. I mean, Ross, things where they stand right now, I think we have we're 7 games in. We have 5 more games left. Do you think Manny Diaz can, turn the wave and win out, go 8-4, 7-5? Do you think he'll stay?
I'm afraid that 8 wins, especially with ending the season on a positive note, depending on how we ended, of course, and of course what a bowl game appearance would look like. But I'm worried 8 wins could keep him, dude. And the main reason is, dude, and we've talked about it before, is that stupid ass 5-year contract we gave him. Seriously, it bought him a year of mediocrity in the midst of his career at Miami as head coach. That's what I feel like it did.
I do agree. I think 8-4, Manny Diaz will stay. Especially if you win that bowl game, he's definitely staying. If you lose, okay, I can see it go 50-50, but I think if he gets 8 wins, I think he's going to stay. That's just my opinion. But seeing how this administration has handled the season so far, when Texas Tech has fired their head coach, LSU has parted ways with Ed Orgeron, USC fired Clay Helton. It's pretty disappointing he's still our head coach, but whatever. Let it burn. Let it burn. Morris Nelson asks, Paul, are we going to lose any more recruits? Ross, I think you're the perfect person to answer that. You are a lot more involved than I am with recruiting.
If we lose, yes, outright. We won't take much losing anymore. 1 or 2 games, and we will end up losing possibly not just 1 or 2 recruits, but a handful of them. And can we afford that, dude? This could, if Manny Diaz doesn't do this right, dude, this could be an utter disaster. I mean, it truly could be an absolute disaster in the 2022 recruiting class. He could, now don't get me wrong, like we talked about, he flips us around and goes 8-4, or gets an 8-win season and stuff. He gets to keep most of these guys probably, dude. But still, man, some of these guys are going to question no matter what, because they're going to go, is this the right team to be on? And I think Graves is a guy that could be possibly looking at, maybe trying out a place like Florida or something if we don't get things right. And remember too, I think Julian Humphrey just decommitted from Florida as well, so that opens up a spot at cornerback there.
By the way, guys, hit subscribe, hit the like button if you want to see Manny Diaz fired. Hit subscribe and the like button if you don't want to see him fired. It's a win-win. No. Seriously, we appreciate everyone joining us. We have 160 people. Thank you so much. If you can hit the like button, hit subscribe. That would mean the world to us, and that's all you need to do. That's it.
Yep.
Don't need you guys to donate. Just hit like, subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. 163 live right now. It's funny because Manny Diaz, he said he needed like 5 recruiting classes to get the ball rolling. I mean, the guy is just trying to buy more time.
Yeah.
But now he's saying that he needs to implement the transfer portal. He's not going to get a 25-man class out of high school, which you cannot rely on the transfer portal when you're going into year 4. Mel Tucker did it, but he went into year 2.
Yeah.
You're going into year 4 and you're still relying heavily on the transfer portal. Yet you've been the defensive coordinator here since 2016, and you've recruited here since 2016 on the defensive side of the football. That nothing makes sense from the excuses are running out. There's nothing that makes sense anymore. He's a hypocrite. He said year 1 he was going to win now. Then at the end of the year when he said, oh shit, we suck, guess what? He's like, oh, it's a rebuilding year. Now he's saying he needed 5 recruiting classes to get the ball rolling. Now he's saying we can't even hit 25 recruits out of high school, and that we're going to utilize the transfer portal heavily. And you're going into year 4. Look, man, I think his time's up. I've seen enough. We've lost to Louisiana Tech. We've lost to an awful Georgia Tech team. We lost to FIU, who hasn't won a game, I think, since they beat Miami. You barely escaped that second year. You think you only beat 1 winning team.
Yep.
Everybody else had a losing record that you beat. And, out of, I think, how many wins does he have? 19?
I think so, yeah.
There were like 8 games that were 8 points. Someone tweeted out, I believe. Like it could have gone either way those 8 games. I mean, there's nothing else left to say about him, and he's lost the fan base after that dumb quote he put out today. He turned his back on the fan base. He's lost the alumni base, and I think he's lost a lot of donors and board of trustees members.
He threw the fans under the bus today with that comment, and that shows me a guy who's basically trying to keep his head above water and trying to survive. As a head coach, you never alienate or never try to make your fan base feel as if they're doing something wrong or as if they're the reason why things aren't happening. It's terrible marketing even, it's just terrible from an optical view. It just looks awful, dude, that he said that.
It's funny. Andre Grant says you cannot know football if you believe FSU will beat Miami. Brandon Merriweather on my show said FSU will beat Miami. That's all I'm going to say. Leave it at that. I'm just saying that was his opinion. Everyone has their opinion.
We will get new excuses by Diaz week by week because this will be him trying to save his job, basically, especially if he keeps failing. The fan base is the first ones to start. We could possibly start hearing about the staff being tossed under the bus next if things don't go as Diaz really needs them to go, because honestly, I don't know if Diaz is decent enough to even not do that. I mean, to call out the fan base today was about as low as he can get in the midst of these struggles he's had. So it kind of makes me feel like, dude, I don't know what could be next then possibly. What next depth could he sink to? And if things are as bad as they are rumored with him and T-Rob, man, I hope he doesn't start leaking out any negative stuff about that, bro. We don't need that.
This is just my opinion, Ross. I think Travaris Robinson's not going to come back next year. This is just my opinion, going off of my gut feeling. I don't think he's coming back next year. I think he's going to be one and done and taken off. I think he knows a bad thing when he sees it. He can get a job in the SEC easily. Where's Will Muschamp at right now?
Good question. I don't know off the top of my head.
Jesus. Oh, he's somewhere in the SEC.
I think so, yeah.
He's somewhere. That's his bread and butter there. He's been in the SEC for a while. But Travaris Robinson can get a job anywhere. I mean, Florida wanted him. Miami outbid Florida.
He'll take a lateral job just to get out of Miami, I believe. I believe that from the things that I've heard, and if the rumors are true, it's such a bad relationship that, like I said, a lateral move could be basically an upgrade in his eyes.
Man, I'll be honest. Like Gus Malzahn, UCF has a better head coach than Miami.
Yes.
I'll be honest. They're a better program than Miami right now.
Yep.
They have a better defensive coordinator than Miami. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Better recruiter.
They develop their players to be ready to win in the college game better than we develop our players to be ready to win in the college game.
Well, Muschamp's at Georgia.
Okay, yeah. Sounds right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's always in the SEC.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Oh, man. He's an analyst at Georgia. God damn. Even their analysts are like amazing defensive coordinators. Wasn't he like Nick Saban's defensive coordinator at LSU?
I think so, yeah. Dude, that defense is freaking ridiculous, bro. Like that Georgia defense is unbelievable. Dan Lanning has done an incredible job.
It's crazy because like Kirby Smart was a defensive coordinator. Dan Lanning is doing it. And then your defensive analyst is Will Muschamp. You have 3 amazing defensive coordinators.
Yep.
Is Charlie Strong at Georgia too?
Might as well be, I mean, they are not just set up to win right now and have a good defense now. They're set up to have a good defense next year and the year after that. They can lose a piece or two and elevate some of these guys in their own within their own staff and give them higher titles and still keep those quality coaches around.
I have never said my opinion on this. Falconer X stated it. Ed Orgeron is available. I don't think the Miami Hurricanes athletic department will go anywhere near Ed Orgeron. They have they want a clean profile. They don't want any They don't want any baggage with any candidate. So I don't think Ed Orgeron would be an appropriate candidate at Miami. I think there's a backstory as to why LSU wanted to part ways early on. That's what.
Yeah, we won't even take a guy that even has a little bit of issues, honestly. And we're talking about Orgeron might have had some major issues because This is a guy who just won a title at LSU, and they were willing to part ways already. So whatever happened there is, I mean, at least in my opinion, is something that won't get him hired at the University of Miami.
All right. We're going to wrap it up, guys. We had 173 people join us live. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Came back from the Heat game, ran over here. Ross was running errands. We did not do a live show Saturday after the game because I was at the game, got home at like 1 a.m., and which was the longest third quarter in the history of mankind, by the way. It was dreadful. And Sunday I was at the Dolphins game. So, yeah, I've been busy. But we're going to go live Tuesday. What time did you get the recruits, get all the players to go live?
We'll start at 9 Eastern.
9 Eastern time. We will go live tomorrow with a lot of recruits. And I'm going to ask them straight up what they think of the fan base showing negativity in general in football programs and see what they have to say. See what their opinions. If they agree with Manny Diaz and his quote, then, hey, fair. It's direct to the source. And then Wednesday, I'll probably do a show with Brandon Merriweather, or we'll do a Pitt pregame show. And we'll break that down, or we'll do it Thursday. So we're going to do shows basically every day except for Friday. And we'll keep you guys busy during this time. That's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, tomorrow, if things go as planned, guys, we're going to have some impact recruits hopping on here. And to hear their side of this and to hear what they think about Miami during all of this is going to be unique.
Gotta love it, man. All right. Thank you again, guys. And always, no matter who's head coach, all about the U. Go Canes.
Go Canes.